Good evening, metalheads and rockers, or wherever the hell you guys are located. Might be good morning, might be good afternoon, but hey, tonight, gonna bring you a review on two albums by a band called Iron Flesh. They're from the country of France. This is the album called Summoning the Putrid, and this one's called Limb After Limb. I'd like to give them a shout out because they also sent me two stickers, one of the logo and also one that represents the artwork for Limb After Limb. But anyhow, what I'm going to tell you are the song titles for the album called Summoning the Putrid. Song titles are Servants of Oblivion, Relinquished Flesh, Demonic Grin, I think that's what it says, or Demonic N, I have no idea. Gotta love these fonts, I tell you. Purity through blasphemy, cursed beyond death, death in the Reaper's scythe, incursion of evil, thy power infinite, and convicted faith. This is on Great Dane Records, which I'm not familiar with. Sounds European to me. Now, for Limb After Limb, the name of the song titles are Overthrow on the Sermon of God, Cursed Within, In Agony You Must Be Reborn, or You Must Reborn. That's a weird song title. Probably messed that up a little bit, but that's okay. Limb After Limb, Blessed Be the Creators, Sacrorum Profanticanum. I have no idea. I don't really speak in different languages, so I might be pronouncing it wrong, but I don't care. Anyway, Honor and Death, to become one with the dead as ghouls march on, procession of living cadavers. But anyway, yeah, like I said, these guys are from France, and without further ado, I'm going to tell you what I feel about them. So you ready for this? Iron Flesh, Summoning the Putrid and Limb After Limb album reviews. Hailing from France comes a band made up of 4 members known as Iron Flesh, driven with some edgy and crushing riffs with some Swedish grind-sounding distortion, chunky and catchy with an old-school sound in the first song off of Summoning the Putrid called Servants of Oblivion. The bass is pounding something fierce in this song and clear enough to hear every note that's played. The solo is dynamite, and the drums are very crisp and sound amazing. This band rips. Bringing back some old school vibes is a plus, if you ask me, especially when it comes to death metal / grindcore. Death grind, in other words. Not many bands are doing that nowadays. The vocals remind me of Entrails a lot, very deep and guttural. The second song, called Relinquished Flesh, is sick, and it has some nice moderate blast beats in it. This is my first time listening to death metal from France. This is quite epic. If you haven't heard this album, you must get your hands on it. Skipping ahead to the fourth song, which is called Purity Through Blasphemy, starts out a bit melodic and has a slight cataclysm feel to it. Well, to at least me it does. Maybe somebody else might feel different, but that's okay. I like the first song. In this song best by how it sounds. I've been asked by some before as to how I feel about lyrics. Honestly, as long as it doesn't harm me or the way I feel about life or interact with people on a daily basis, and no harm is done to them or myself, then it doesn't matter. I don't let lyrics influence me that way. Anyway, with the song called Death and the Reaper's Scythe starting out with an obscure sounding bass line, it's a bit slower sounding, but pretty outstanding if you ask me. Summoning the Putrid is just a little bit over 40 minutes of music, so I'll give this album a 4 out of 5 horns. On to the album Limb After Limb. When I hit play, I had noticed that this album is a lot longer than their previous release. Nearly 50 minutes in music. This album, I believe, is basically following the story of the previous album, Summoning the Putrid. With this album, I can tell they got a lot louder with their sound. The second song, called Cursed Within, sounds like they had some black metal influence just by the chords they had in there, sounding like that to me a little bit in the beginning. But with that chainsaw sounding distortion, it definitely adds the punches. In some spots in this song, it's a bit slow and sluggish, which I like about this band. I can remember hearing Entomb doing stuff like that back in the day. So, I'll tell you what, everyone, I've never heard of this band before until I seen their sponsored ad on Facebook, so I figured I'd hit them up. I do plan to interview them sometime. Limb After Limb came out last year. It's on War Anthem Records. I'm not familiar with that record company, but feel free to check them out. Usually I give CDs about 5 listens, but these albums I've only listened to once and got hooked on it. The album track Limb After Limb is my favorite so far off the album. Anyhow, this album gets a 5 out of 5 horns. I feel this album is being longer than the first one and how their sound continues to surprise me. That's why I gave it 5 out of 5 horns. So anyway, people, show your support by supporting Iron Flesh. Also support Underground Noise Webzine, support the underground metal music scene and your local music scene, and also keep your horns up. And also, people, coming up soon will be a couple more reviews. Got about 3 or 4 more, maybe 5 more coming up this week. And on January 20th, there will be an interview with a band called Damage and Company. I believe that's their name. But for short, it's called Damage & Co. So anyway, till next time, keep your horns up, guys. Metalheads, rockers, everybody.